Good evening. Welcome to In the Mix. I think it's 5 already. It's become a Sunday thing. Let's take another minute for more people to tune in. There, I can see some people have already joined. Let's take just one more minute and then we'll start. So I'll just start in a minute. Okay, we are on. Welcome everyone to In the Mix. This is our weekly talk show hosted by Jamsteady and Topcat CCU. For this episode, we have also brought in Skinny Mo's Jazz Club. This is a talk show where we talk about music, art, tech, collaboration, the business of music and art, and lots of things around the world of music and art. We feature musicians, artists, sound engineers, producers, managers, and other scenesters from around the world. In the Mix promises to be a weekly dose of fun conversation, news, and trends from the world of music. Today's episode. Okay, so today's episode we'll speak with our god Amyt Dutta. He's been an inspiration for most musicians from Kolkata and from around India. He's definitely been an inspiration for me. I've had the uh, great fortune of working with him many times. We will delve into his life, his journey, his philosophy. We'll ask him questions. We'll also bring some people who are interested to ask him questions during the live session onto screen for like 5 to 7 minutes. They'll get a chance to speak with him one on one. So, yeah, so that's the plan for today. Without further ado, let me bring the Amyt Dutta onto the screen.
Hi,
Hi,
Nishit.
Amita. Hello, hello.
Hey, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, good evening. Thank you. Nice
How
to
has
see
your
you.
Yes? How has your Sunday been?
Busy classes and teaching and
Hmm.
music and guitar and you
Yeah.
know, my life is the same every day.
Sunday is busy for you usually, right?
In the mornings, yes,
Right.
yes, correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think now it's become for a lot of musicians. Become teaching has become a. I mean, you've been doing it for years,
yeah, yeah,
but for a lot of other musicians also, it has become this. Either you're making music or collaborating online, or you're teaching because there are
yeah.
no gigs.
I know,
Which is
I
what
know.
it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So, um, Amita, I wanted to start this session with a little bit of a backstory.
Hmm.
Basically, just I mean, a lot of people I'm sure who are listening already know you and all that. But just to set a little tone for this conversation, also because we make an audio version of this
Okay.
conversation, so it'll be nice when people are different parts of this country or outside also discover this session. They would like to know more about it. So just tell us a little bit about how it all started. What were the key moments that shaped Amyt Datta, the musician?
Well, I started playing guitar back in 1973 was my first class, and I remember very clearly it was the month of Feb or March around that time, 1973. And my
Mm,
mom was again instrumental in pushing me and my brother into doing music, like at least taking guitar classes and stuff like that. So that's how
okay.
we started, and then as we played, I grew up in Calcutta 16, which is part of very close to Park Street, and and we used to have a lot of Anglo-Indian community there, so we would meet up, and we had friends from school and other parts of town, and they would also play guitar and drums, and very easily we could discuss music and form a little band, and which didn't probably play outside, but at home we rehearse and exchange, we jam up, jam on the roof or something, and then that way that inspiration, the learning also started. And then very soon I found that this is the only thing that I love to do, and you know, too
Hmm.
much fun, too much fun, and I carried on. So that was the beginning of it all, really.
Right. And what would
Yeah.
you say would be the key moments? As in, I like it because I've had many conversations with you regarding this,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know a few ones, but it'll be nice to touch on a few of those. I remember when you had said when about how you were playing someone else's music, and then your mom had told you like
Oh,
how
oh
you.
yeah.
I
Oh,
think that
yeah, yeah.
be a quite a moment for you, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That was much later, but I'll tell you a
Acha.
little bit of a story.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I was really young, and something this instrument guitar, I don't know, it was like naturally decided for me or what, I don't know, but I remember there used to be a acoustic guitar lying around my house, and my uncle used to play a little bit, not seriously, but and I was young, very very young, maybe 9 or something, and I went and touched this guitar on the. I still remember the fourth string, and I still feel that. I keep telling this story to everyone. And this kind of like a some kind of awakening that this is what I want to do, kind of thing, And at
Hmm.
that age, you don't kind of constructively think in that way, but something happened that you love it, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then after that, my mom started us on the guitar lessons and all that, and we carried on. And like I said, with friends and lessons and all, we started improving, playing, and then we did small time gigs. And but then what I got seriously into is, I remember on Wellesley there used to be a shop, and I went to buy a mandolin, a small little mandolin, and I was kind of playing whatever little I knew, and I looked back, and there was a big kind of crowd outside the shop watching me play. And
Oh.
that was, yeah, and I was must have been what, about 14 or 15 or something like that.
Hmm.
And I was playing I didn't know how to play mandolin, but I play a little guitar, so I was playing all that kind of stuff. So there
Hmm.
were a little crowd outside, and that kind of inspired me in thinking, wow, that's a great feeling, and everything, and that's it. And then I carried on playing, and then and how it is, I mean, the more you get inspired, the more you practice, and the more you improve, and that cycle keeps going.
Yeah.
Anyway, we carried on, played with many bands, and joined bands and stuff like that. And then much later, when I was maybe I don't remember, maybe 20 or 21, or maybe a little bit more, I was practicing on my bed and at night, and my mom comes about, I think, 12:31 in the morning, man. I mean, at night. Mom comes and listens to me for a minute, and she says, "What are you practicing?" I said something like, and then she told me like, "How long are you going to play other people's music? When are you
Hmm.
going to start your own thing?" Because she was coming from a like a musical family, she knew that what is the real thing, and then that was like, wow, that's coming from mom. So I said, okay, okay, all right. But later I started thinking about it, and that kind of woke me up in reality. It was like a reality check. So from
Yeah.
then onwards, I kind of concentrated on finding my whatever, I tried to at least make an attempt of finding a little thing for myself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, because you mentioned this, I think there is a. I mean, there was a time in between where a lot of people were doing original music. I mean,
Right.
a lot of bands. Like this is from my experience. I'm sure there were people doing before that also.
Right.
So when I started doing, there were a lot of bands. A lot of the artists were guitarists were your students as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
looked like a time and very promising time for original music. But
Hmm.
I think now again there is a huge surge of this cover scene, which is
Hmm.
happening
Hmm.
everywhere.
Hmm.
So I mean, I think for someone who's starting out as a musician, it's very confusing also, right? As in, I mean, what do you do? There is one like chain of thought. Okay, I have to do my own thing, which is what should be the thing. But
Hmm.
the demand in the world is mostly doing covers. I mean, how do you process this thing? You know?
But yeah, I know. This is actually this has to be understood very clearly, though, Nishit. I mean, for me and also people who are the young people who are kind of trying to, you know, play guitar and play music all their lives. One is to play cover music all over the world. It's kind of an easy way into this industry and to earn some bucks and have some fun or whatever. But that is also at home. It's kind of homework when you do cover other people's music, especially good people's music, good musicians, good bands. You also learn your craft because you learn what the gurus have done. Whatever, whether it's McLaughlin or Santana or some jazz guy, or folk, whatever stream of thing, rock or whatever, and then you use that in your art, but don't stop at picking that up and just doing your gig and forgetting about it. So there are two ways, two streams of thoughts or people, two groups of people. One is maybe just do the covers and get your gig and get your money and be happy with it. And the other type, which was me, my kind of thing, or get the money and get the fun and get the knowledge out of the covers and then use it for myself as an artist in the future, as a
Mm,
craft. So, and then extract something out of that of your own and make something out of own and use it as your voice, or hopefully at least as your signature. So
yeah,
that's, yeah. But it is, like you said, is confusing for the younger musicians. I think they should think about it like this: what they really want to do. They just want to earn a few bucks, which is necessary, and
yeah,
forget about it. Or if you want to earn the bucks, have fun, travel, play the gigs, and also keep some serious material, take home some serious material, so you can really learn from them, from that music, and put it in in your own bag, kind of thing,
yeah.
stylistically and craft, as a craft. So yeah,
Hmm.
there are two ways. So that has to be understood very clearly.
Yeah. Like, is there a balance? Like, especially like I'm just talking again from maybe a promoter, like who's been doing gigs now.
Right,
When we started Jamsteady, it was all original music.
right,
Uh, Now that then we started programming for different venues, there was obviously demand to do a lot of cover music
right.
and more easy music, right? I mean,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
people
yeah.
can digest
Mm-hmm.
easily. Um, so, I mean, is there a balance? Like, is there a balance that you could have, like that you do covers as well as work on your originals? Like just from your point of view, I'm sure different artists will have different ways of doing it, and they'll have
Right,
their own journeys.
right,
But
right.
just from your point of view, what would you think about this, or just do originals and stick by it? That's what create your own.
Well, you know what? I mean, for me, the ideal situation would be just doing my music and play as many gigs as possible with my trio or quartet or whatever it is, and travel all over, and and whatever. That's the ideal situation, but it doesn't work out. But I don't mind doing that quite a bit, if not 100%, maybe 70, 80%. And the rest of the 30% I don't mind doing other music, because I grew up with the other kind of music also, and I have fun with it also. I'm not really, but now the situation is nothing is happening. So it's a
Hmm.
bit of a frustrating thing. So if that main, like I said, if the other side, like my music, I could play gigs, and then on the downtime I could play other music with, I could write some material or do some other music, give it another form to that music, and play it your own way also. That would work for me, sure. And
Right.
that's fun. That's fun too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I agree with you on that actually.
yeah,
And
yeah,
obviously, each one has their different uh,
yeah.
way of looking at things. Also, different circumstances people have. So some
That's
people
correct.
have to choose,
Hmm.
a certain path because I mean, probably that's the only way they have to go.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, in an ideal situation, it will be great that everyone gets to do their own music, and then
That's correct.
they
Yeah,
create their own tribe, their own
yeah,
fan following, and there's
yeah,
people
yeah,
coming and paying for gigs. I mean that would be an ideal situation.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. But talking about that, maybe. about 20 years back. Maybe it was not as I mean, YouTube or whatever, all this media wasn't there, but it was kind of, we were still working quite a bit.
Hmm.
We're traveling, really traveling. I mean, and playing gigs and uh, really, and we were playing original music also. With Skinny and doing festivals. And the moment, I don't know, somehow it got first phenomenon. First thing was the Bollywood invasion happened, and then that was
Yeah.
promoted by the media even more into the bedroom. So whatever little people niche was left over, they were also swallowed by that. And eventually, whatever it is, when that comes, I noticed. I'm not making it up. I'm just describing the reality that noticed. That when it that that Bollywoody texture comes, people lap it up, man. I mean, they might talk about rock and jazz, but eventually they get diverted into that, and that's what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, so eventually that's
Also,
that.
internet also changed the whole game.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think now, especially, people are so used to sitting at home and watching things that,
right,
I mean, even though we keep saying, I mean, for us, it'll always be that come to a gig, have that experience. But
right.
people, okay, even if they get some 20% of that experience sitting at home, and when they can just laze around
Yeah, I
and
know.
watch it on YouTube. So I think that is definitely playing some part, you know?
It does. It does.
Mm,
Yeah, because the plus, the positive side is at least it's reaching out to
yeah,
people without beyond boundaries and geographical whatever hindrances.
for
But
sure.
yeah, but it's still not live. It's not
Mm,
the same as live. Live is the other energy. That whole energy is it's real. It's real. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
also for an artist is most exciting because there's an element of risk involved when you play live.
Mm,
There's a chance of that you might fail, and that's the challenge. And half of us play because of that living on the edge excitement kind of thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
For sure, for sure. I
yeah,
totally
yeah,
agree with you. I
yeah,
hope, yeah, I hope we can go back to some proper gigs. Because I think as much as we are missing the live gigs, people are also missing. I mean, there is a big chunk of people who love to come to gigs and watch.
yeah, yeah.
So that whole thing has been kind of missing from our lives. So
I know.
I hope when things do get back to whatever the normal would be, we'll
Yeah,
we'll have a better scene. I mean, that's
yeah,
just a
absolutely.
hope.
I know. Yeah, we can only hope. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
once this gets over, what another thing that people will have to get rid of is the fear factor. Like
Mm,
if they'll think, oh shit, if we go to that place again, it's a crowd, a little bit of a so all that has to also go. And
yeah,
I hope that feeling of really jumping into it also happens. You know what I mean? Wow, it opens up. Let's go have fun. Let's go out and you know
yeah,
that 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 energy has to come back. Otherwise, the world is kind of dead.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Absolutely, absolutely.
the
Like
whole.
just now, the whole. I mean, it still feels unreal. And now the scary bit is we've got so used to this life as well. Because it's been so
Exactly.
long. It's been so
It
long.
is. It is.
So
It
so
is.
many things have kind of changed for us.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
been good, but a lot has been quite
Yeah.
bad as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, okay, I wanted to ask you one question. If Amyt Dutta was not a musician, what would he be?
Die. No, but I can't really, honestly, Nishit, I can't
You
even
can't.
dream of myself seeing in another situation, really.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, Even if I kind of construct a kind of hypothetical kind of situation, I can't because,
Yeah.
yeah, because only 11 or 12 years, 11 years of my life I have spent without the instrument.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the first 6 years after your birth, you're kind of a you don't have a sense of you don't have a mind like that. You're just a baby. So I
Yeah.
had just 4 or 5 years of without the instrument. So I can't really think of anything
Hmm.
else but this. But yeah, if I didn't play guitar, I probably would have been mm, very kind of a romantic traveler.
Right.
I would. I would like I love to see things like like especially like beautiful nature and sometimes I like seeing looking into gazing into nothingness like just
Yeah.
nothingness and definitely I don't know if it's a musician's heart or mind or eye but I seem to be finding a lot of things in that nothingness when you're gazing into nothingness but the inner eye kind of seem to be giving you a lot of things and then I kind of come home and find material to kind of
Mm.
write on or play on. That was one of the tunes when I wrote a tune called The Winter Writer. That was one of the inspirations.
Mm.
And the title also came, even though it's an instrumental, but the title came from that scene of uh, ice and snow and storm, but this mad old guy sitting on the piano and just keeping on writing no matter what.
Mm.
So
Wow.
it's yeah.
So Rohan has a comment for this. I am
Oh
bringing it
yeah,
up. Like if you were not a musician, you would eat up all the sweets on earth.
that I would maybe yeah, especially around 4:30 in the evening with my coffee. I would definitely.
So you could have become a food blogger focused on sweets.
But you know what? I wouldn't blog. I would just eat them up. I would.
Just eat.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I know. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Sure.
great. So, okay, I have some. I mean, I wanted to ask you actually slightly. I mean, I think most people have already asked you all the questions that would kind of come to people's mind, your
Right.
journey, your
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
process, all of
Yeah.
that. I thought
Yeah.
to little twist it up a little.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, So, what do you think of the Bangla independent scene of like there was some amazing work happening back in the day. Even now, there are some interesting things happening. But your point of view, what do you think? What are the good, bad, whatever?
Well, stylistically, apart from just a few bands, if you talk about bands,
Hmm.
I don't want to name them, but
Yeah, yeah.
uh, just one or two, maybe two of them, or maybe one. Uh, Actually,
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe one. I don't know if I'm. But apart from them, I think they are stylistically. I'm not really very keen on in getting into that in listening wise or whatever. But yeah, but at least there's a phenomenon that has happened in Calcutta with writing in their own language. But I would suggest, what happens for some reason, and most of the rock bands obviously has guitar,
Yeah.
and guitar is really understood very well by many people. I don't know. I'm not talking about the technicalities and how complex he or she can play. I'm talking about the history of the instrument. If you look at, especially in our part of town, guitar is coming through the Tollywood or the Bollywood side of thing, but not from the authentic place where it should come from.
Hmm.
It's like saying, I want to play a sitar, but I want some American guy who's playing. I listen to him, without listening to the Nikhil Banerjees and the Ravi Shankars. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
there's a, but like I said, apart from a few bands, maybe one or two, they're really doing a great job. I just couple of years back, or maybe 1 year back, I worked with a certain person. Uh, his band really understands the music, and the musicians are quite authentic. They sound pretty authentic. So yeah, I mean, things are there,
Yeah.
but as a community, we need to understand um, the the guitar music as a more authentic, the depths of it. It's not like just I want to be popular and looks cool and goes with it, and I'm a rock star, that kind of thing. This
Right.
also bleeds when you play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
that
think, yeah,
that,
pushing boundaries. I think that's something
that
as an
yeah,
artist you have to kind of.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. But Nishit, pushing boundaries comes much later. But at least
hmm.
the basics, the base, you have to cover the parameter of the basic understanding, and
Hmm.
then comes that other urge of growing up into yourself. That is that pushing boundary time, which comes. maybe 20 years. It takes 20, 25, 30 years to even have that notion in your mind and that urge, because it's so
Right.
tough.
It
Because
is.
everybody has done everything so well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
it's, yeah,
Agreed. I
yeah,
have one question. I want to
sure,
bring it on.
yeah.
Or no, he's also a guitar player as from a band. He wants to ask you a question which I always wanted to ask Amyt Da is what was your vision during the process of composing Dance Acoustica? If not the
Oh,
entire album, of course. Yeah.
okay. Dance Acoustica. Okay. Um, See, it's basically the blues. You know, I mean, if you think of the blues, I mean, this is exactly actually a good time to ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to the first melody, the entry, it's kind of the blues, but I've taken the embryo of the feeling of blues and shifted technicalities a little bit up and down, and it kind of sonically changes its color into being something else. But essentially, it was the blues, and since I played on the acoustic guitar, uh, I called it dance acoustica because I could see an image of a dancer in a particular way that I see in my own mind, dancing with this piece. So you know that's the visual uh, canvas of what I thought. Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah,
I hope that answers Arnab's question.
yeah.
Um,
But if anyone wants to want to know the technicalities, that has to be another session because it's quite a
yeah,
bit of it. Yeah,
of course, of
yeah,
course.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. We're not getting into technicals because then first
yeah,
I will not understand anything, and then
yeah,
sec- secondly it'll be I guess it'll be a much larger conversation.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. Also, like a lot of music has been coming out from even Tollywood.
yeah,
A lot of musicians are playing
yeah.
as session musicians, music directors, background score. What do you have? What do you think about that in that sense? What again? I'll say what I feel.
Okay.
I feel even Tollywood music industry as such. Like I see, there's some again very good stuff happening. Like I think newer stuff has been starting happening,
Right.
and I also seeing a lot of our independent musicians have started also being part of that in the sense composing or writing.
Correct.
But I still feel it's not path breaking. It's not doing challenging stuff. It's not doing out there kind of stuff. Still tries to copy a lot of the Bollywood stuff. Which Bollywood is also copying from somewhere else. Which I feel you know um, is a bit of a problem.
There are two points to this. One is uh, people are playing safe. If something is popular, everyone wants to jump onto that and grab and extract as much as possible out of the what we call the hit, so that they don't want to risk themselves to be doing something else, so that but that's a risk that they're taking, so they don't want to take that. They're playing safe. So
Right.
if a certain song is a hit or a certain style is a hit, everyone wants to do that because okay, that's a hit, and let's kind of milk that out as much as possible and make a couple of bucks out of that. And the other one
Yeah.
is in of late. I mean, and when I say late, of let's say the last six years or so, uh, I've 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 seen some, especially guitar players, are playing in the industry. Let's call it not Tollywood, but the local industry, uh,
Hmm.
who are who are knowledgeable players. They're not faking it. So they come and play, and that's happening all around India, even in Bombay, because a lot of my friends are who are educated guitar players, and they know what is actually happening as an authentic art form. When they present themselves in the Bollywood or the Tollywood song, there is a there's you can see there's a lot of improvement in the technicalities, at least. I don't know the
Hmm.
aesthetic part of it, because guitar players are hired to do their part and then get out. But
Right.
aesthetically, I don't know. But technically, definitely much improved than at least let's say what I grew up with. I mean, in the
Yeah.
80s and 90s, in the film music overall, especially when they delved into the harmonic space, not the melody so much. Melody is obviously
Hmm.
taken from Indian classical music somewhat, or the folk. So they kind of somehow uh, uh, was okay, but as soon as they went down in the harmonic area, they sounded
Hmm.
complete trash, really. And from there, post maybe some of the musicians like Asan Loy, those guys, those guys have kind of even Rahman, they kind of improved, taking it out of that, and sounds much better than before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, much
And
improved.
yeah, and I agree. In fact, in the last 5, 6 years, also with the
Yeah,
whole, with the whole Netflix and the web series and
yeah,
all that,
yeah, yeah,
a lot of independent filmmakers are looking for independent,
yeah.
that vibe kind of matches.
That's true.
So which
Yeah.
is happening good. Like Tajdar has been doing some great
Oh yeah,
music
amazing.
for,
That guy is another guy
yeah,
who really understands music from the heart. See, another thing, as a
yeah,
guitar player, I'm sure I can see a lot of guitar player friends of mine,
yeah.
Bodhi, and they will agree. I mean, guitar is a great instrument and it's a great looking instrument. In fact, it makes you look better than you are actually sometimes when you wear it, and so it became like it has become like a prop, and
Hmm.
holding the guitar and standing at the ocean and singing and playing utter rubbish on the left hand, the right hand. There's no. So that is what I can't handle.
Yeah,
They can't even. They don't want to even learn it and at least fake the fakeness. That is also that what that is what. So guitar as an instrument has got a lot of abuse also in a way. Like this.
yeah,
So it's
for
pretty
sure.
annoying for me. Yeah,
I can totally understand.
yeah,
Okay, let me take Bodhi's question.
yeah.
Bodhi wants to ask you a question.
Mhm.
What do you feel about the future of guitar music, as in the continuous evolution of the instrument?
Wow, that's a great question. Very deep question, Bodhi. Thank you.
Mhm.
Uh, see, I mean, guitar again is, to my mind, is just second to piano, not in respect to anything, but the
Mm.
facility wise, sometimes even more sometimes, because a lot of things we can do on the guitar, piano cannot do, like bending and stuff like that. Whatever, and especially guitar now has been stretched to its ultimate territory and is still stretching. And now, if you watch the world phenomenon, uh, everyone is technically 100 on 100. If it's possible, it's more than 100 if it's possible. But um, there is some kind of a soul missing. So when you watch a guitar player, you say your jaw drops because there's like antiseptic clean and incredible chops, and not only speed but everything else. But you go home like, wow, what a guitar player, what a musician. But when you listen, I never come back home and say, man, I felt like crying, and he sent me to this other place. And he's not like a spiritual touch, and I don't mean God spiritual. I mean, like heart. I mean, but if you take a guy like a McLaughlin, John McLaughlin, he'll slay you with his chops,
Mhm.
and he will also make you so sad with his emotions. That's what I'm missing now. So I hope we go back to that to answer Bodhi's question. I hope we go back to that way of thinking and that kind of headspace, and then take it from there. I would think, to my mind, even that will be a next evolution also, to be technically savvy but also bring the heart in.
Hmm.
So because so much information happening, technical information, everyone can do everything,
Yeah,
but no one can see into each other's heart, and I want to see that
yeah, yeah,
more in the
absolutely.
music. Because if you close your eyes, you probably most of the time won't know who's playing, but you will say they're all great. But if you
Yeah.
take one note of Santana, of John McLaughlin, or Adam Rogers, you know he's the guy. Or Fuse, David Fizinski, you know
Hmm.
he's the guy.
Hmm.
You know.
Agreed,
So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So
Yeah,
again the signature, is important.
yeah. I mean, I think also because in today's time, the attention span is low, with with people consuming music or even videos 15 seconds, 30 seconds on their feed.
I know.
It's I think that has become a big change, uh, right? As in, so I think, I mean, this is what I feel, that even as musicians or guitarists, I think there will you a will have to find ways to cut through to that, because you don't want to be left out also,
Right,
right? I
right.
mean, even though we can be purists and all that, but if we cut out ourselves completely, then we kind of get left behind. So
True, true.
to have
Yeah.
that as well. But I think um, I think this is also a time where there's too much things happening and things will filter out. I think
Yeah.
people will go back to also, maybe not everyone. It won't be
Right,
like
right,
the good old rock and roll days, but
right.
people, there'll be a big chunk of people who will want to listen to a full album, will want to listen to an instrumental album. You
I
know,
know,
I think we
I
are
know.
also going through a evolution phase where
Yeah,
suddenly too much bombardment is happening, so
correct,
we don't know what to do.
correct.
So
Absolutely.
I mean,
And
it's what
it's,
I feel.
yeah, it is true. You're very, and it's easy access. No, it's just
Yeah,
right there, in your hand. It's right there. You can go to any part of the world, any information, and you can get it.
exactly,
So it's
exactly.
easy access. So and probably that also results in the kind of the depth of respect towards something.
Yeah,
you know oh, I can get it. Oh, I can get that too. I can get this also. But
absolutely.
the positive side is everyone can access everything, and then they can stretch on it, if
Yeah,
they have the passion.
yeah,
Yeah,
totally, totally.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, let me take a few more questions because there are many questions today. So I think the people are shy to come on screen. We'll just take their questions
Sure, all right.
from the comment box. Which one? I'll mix it up. Music and okay, I don't know. Okay, let's take it. We can both try and answer this.
Okay.
Thoughts on music and musicians advertisement with music brands. I think what he wants to say is advertisement is also important today. So how will it help to boost a musician's career? Uh, I don't think it's a very music related question, obviously. In that sense, I
Yeah.
mean, I feel obviously we need to do the advertisement. Now,
Right.
advertisement doesn't have to be in one way. There can be many
Mm.
ways of doing advertisement. One can be also one can be where you have a community. You know, you create a community of people who you share your knowledge with. You have an interaction, and they kind of become your uh, people who will spread the word.
Correct.
Obviously, traditional advertisement that you use do via your Instagram, Facebook, this and that.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to this, or in
But
particular?
yeah, I mean that what you said is exactly right. But letting people know is one thing, but the real help is when they actually come and take part in that phenomenon, in that act. So that is number one is the economic background that
Yeah,
we are in. So I could be very willing to take part, but my obviously it needs some commerce to join that part. So that is maybe I'm not as powerful to do that at that moment. you know I'm not in the situation to take part on that. So that is till that situation changes, is always going to be, we can let people know, especially now it's become so easy.
yeah,
2000, 5000 people, but out of them 30 people will be willing to spend that money to actually come and take part in that event. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So letting people know is one thing, but actually making it work for them to come and actually help the musicians get that gig or run their lives is another thing. These are all reality that I've noticed over my career, and
yeah, yeah,
these
yeah.
are all real.
It is. It is as real as
Yeah,
it can get.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think, in fact, the challenges is there is a section of people. I mean, there are people who have money, they can spend money, but they may or most lot of them are not interested in music which is very hard hitting or which
That's
challenges
correct.
you. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, 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 yeah.
there are people who really love this music, they believe in it or they connect with it because it is of a certain nature, but probably
Right.
they don't have the they can't maybe always support by coming to
That's
the
correct. That's correct.
gigs, coming
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
venue or buying the
yeah,
album, all those
yeah,
elements.
yeah, yeah. Also, this is just to add to what you just said. It's
Yeah,
also a lifetime, a lifestyle thing.
Yeah,
If a community is like an outgoing and that's kind of part of their lifestyle, they will see that issue as an important factor in their lives, you know.
right. Agreed.
And if we are very much like, you know, okay, get come back from have dinner and go to sleep type, then you'll never go out, and no matter how much money you have or don't.
Absolutely.
If the mind thing, you know, if you go out and you know, okay, to Saturday night let's go out, Friday night let's go out, if you have that kind of thing, then the
Yeah,
whole thing starts running, you know what I mean.
totally. I agree.
So it's a lot of all the other factors are also
Yeah,
involved.
I mean, I would say, people should, I mean, at least make that effort of coming to gigs. Whether you
Yeah, yeah.
you don't have to always spend a lot of money, you know.
Mm.
Especially like if you, I mean, when we used to do our gigs at Princeton Club Jam Steady, I mean,
Right,
that is something we would try and achieve. Maybe
right,
we can only try that, it would
right.
not be very heavy on the pocket. It was open to
I know.
everyone,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
whether you're from whatever background you're from. So
Right.
making it accessible is definitely important, and then people
Yeah.
also responding to it. They should
Cool.
first is making the place accessible. A lot of venues also don't make it accessible for everyone. There
That's
is a
true.
barrier. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I don't feel confident entering that venue because I know someone will come and tell me, please buy a beer for 800 rupees, and you'll be like
Right.
in a
Yeah.
spot, right?
Yeah, I know.
Even though you really want to come for the gig.
Right.
So I think that it's comes from both sides.
Yeah, it is. It is quite a
Yeah,
thing. Yeah. No, but like,
challenging.
yeah, I mean, like you are for years. I mean,
Sorry.
you're trying,
Yeah,
but sometimes the venues also. I mean, if you have like low prices, also
yeah,
doesn't allow the organizer to get the venue and everything to get the show going. No,
yeah,
so because you have to also run your system,
absolutely.
so it's kind of a catch-22 kind of situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. But I think numbers can sometimes, change that. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true. That's true.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you show the strength in numbers, it really changes the game. But if you
Right.
have less people, then uh, you don't have the confidence to convince a venue or a brand or a sponsor that okay, this is a thing. So
Correct.
I
Correct.
think just come to the gigs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, let me take there are many questions. I'm getting lost, so I'm gonna
Oh,
pick one. Uh, okay, Ehsan is from Bangladesh. I remember
yeah.
being
Okay.
there. How do you see the professional scene of music growing from here in our part of the world? Do you find the overall infrastructure encouraging enough?
Wow, that question is already answered. I think. I mean,
Hmm.
firstly, the infrastructure is fallen and it's broken.
Yeah,
But once the bigger structure is not built, these little micro infrastructure like music venues and promoters and managers, they won't be able to put their heads up. You know what I mean? So first the medicine and the health and the education and the school and the colleges will have to be, and then all this, because obviously entertainment we have seen only as entertainments and not educators at all. And whether
Hmm.
I really believe that we are also educated, not because I teach, not because we teach, but music itself is an educational, uh, I think, educational stimulant. You know, it really enhances your thinking, and therefore we hope to get a better society. But somehow people don't really recognize it that way. But so till then, it's a hard uphill, as a
yeah,
it's
yeah.
uphill. Yeah, it's pretty uphill.
It is.
The basic economics will have to come into place.
Yeah, agreed. Uh, okay, let me see some more. I don't want to miss some interesting questions. Okay, yeah, okay. So wants to ask you, was there any particular artist genre whose music shaped your interest in dissonance? That to me personally is the most enriching experience when listening to your pieces.
Um, Firstly, it's not necessarily music. I mean, the way we understand it. For
Uh,
me, it could be just driving through the streets. To answer this question, dissonance and consonance, they both come not. in like everyday life. It doesn't have to come from an album or a cassette or a CD or from the band. And then that expression is been captured by musicians like us and presented. But the basic lesson is, let's say if you're going through a industrial district in your town, and whatever sounds you have, you try and put it in your craft and present it. But then you have to have the background of knowing your art really, really well. So, to use that. So, but
Uh,
just to answer it like an artist, I think, I think, uh, I don't know, man. I mean, wherever it comes from, John Zorn, David Fuzinski, any kind of jazz, Coltrane, that kind of thing. It's hard to kind of pinpoint.
mm,
Yeah. Mm.
okay, great. Uh, right, bring you down. Okay, one more question is from Arijit Dutta.
Okay.
He's saying, "Hello, sir. I felt in many of your music you tend to not resolve and retain tension. How do you relate that to life? Or in general, how do you describe your music?"
Describe my music is see music like like you said yourself. I mean, it's a reflection of life, but in a sonic way. I'm not writing it in words, but in a sonic kind of language. Um, and I don't resolve sometimes because that's the feeling, because many things in life doesn't resolve. That's the thing. Don't take music as outside life. If you're a musician, see it within the big picture of life, and music is all around you. Really, I mean, if you just grab that idea and put it in your own craft, whether it's painting, writing, music, or whatever, you'll be able to get lessons every day from thin air. Really, I mean, all you have to do is keep your senses alive. Your eyes and your tongue and your skin and everything alive. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
music.
also think so. I think also
Yeah,
like enjoying the process and the journey, you
yeah,
know.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I sometimes, I mean, I keep thinking about it and more that one of the things that I miss right now is the whole being around musicians, organizing a gig, dealing with sound tech. I mean, even though it sounds maybe not so exciting, but
Yeah,
that process kind
but
of
it
feeds
isn't.
you. Yeah,
Isn't it a high? Isn't it a
it
high?
is. It
Really?
is.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So maybe the end result obviously is satisfying, but
yeah.
that process itself is so enriching, because it
Exactly.
teaches you so many things. You're
Oh yeah,
constantly figuring out things and
yeah,
learning things.
yeah.
So yeah, I
Exactly.
totally believe in that thing of process and the
Yeah,
journey being the
that's
interesting.
correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, just let me just go through a few more questions. Was there any particular? Okay, this is done. Okay, the Siddhartha Lahiri wants to ask you, Amida, what should be the approach when sometimes nothing is going right, when you are practicing and playing and you are down?
Well, you can take a break for a bit. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it works.
That's a great advice,
Uh,
actually.
yeah, you can take a break. Um, Space is always essential. Sometimes space is a great thing. And just kind of, just stop doing that, because again, you'll be repeating. Sometimes what happens is, there are two ways looking at it. I mean, one is you keep trying, give it another shot and a harder shot, maybe 10 times, and then if it still work out, then you try a reverse way, which is kind of stopping it and dropping it, and kind of really uh, you know get rid of that feeling, and then when you come back, maybe hopefully it'll be a fresh kind of approach. And if it doesn't still work out, that's how our lives are.
Hmm.
We are almost gotten used to that kind of situation.
Yeah.
That's why when a high comes, we don't want to leave it. We want to grab that high and keep it and retain it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Alan has the question. Let me bring Alan's
Alan.
question.
Oh, Alan. Oh, hi,
Ah.
Alan. Oh,
My question is for Amit. The access to music today is like standing in front of a massive buffet. You pretty much try and eat everything, but you don't really enjoy the meal. So true. How do you personally go about discovering? I think I didn't. You didn't show the whole thing.
Okay.
discovering, listening to, and enjoy new music without getting fatigued.
So what he's asking is so much music that you don't know, you're kind of confused. Is that
So he wants to
is
ask
it?
you, how do you personally go about discovering, listening to, and enjoying new music without getting fatigued?
Okay. Well, I kind of at this stage of my life, I kind of um, get a vibe of the music and check it out, and if that can still retains my interest, I kind of go deep into that artist or the band, or else I just kind of forget it. What because but by now I almost have a kind of set pattern that I listen to music. Like I've been listening to off late, so it's kind of I keep bouncing back and forth between those artists, but there's a phase and suddenly I go to another phase and listen to another sort of artist, and so it depends, you just be free, don't kind of think and jam yourself up in your corner, and just kind of let yourself go in a flow. And very important, I don't know if you're a musician, Alan, but very important to know in your head your likes very strongly, you know and
Yeah,
and then go for it, kind of thing. If you're a musician, if you're just a basic listener, then go for anything at all. It doesn't really matter.
yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
gives you good feeling is good. Yeah.
I like how he described this as uh, it's like
A
standing in
buff.
front of a massive buffet.
It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing also now with this algorithm thing, with
Mm-hmm.
Spotify and all that, you
Yeah.
start listening to the same kind of music because the algorithm detects your
It.
taste, and then
Correct.
it'll keep giving you the same thing. Now you
Right.
start in, I mean, as a listener, mostly you'll be happy with it because you're like, okay, this is my vibe. But
Mm-hmm.
then it's actually not great. The algorithm doesn't help you to discover new things, to challenge your brain to something new. That's what we would do earlier, right? I mean, we would listen to different cassettes, pick up things, or listen to from a friend. But if the
Right.
algorithm is going to decide for us, it's a bit of a problem. I feel.
Oh, I know. I know exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
constantly, even if people are listening to music on full music, try not to do that auto algorithm kind of a thing. I mean, that is okay for something like a background music, but if
Yeah.
you're consciously listening to music, push yourself, use some search of yourself that you think is what is going to inspire you, or whatever, different things. Explore different areas.
I know.
This is
And
how
maybe
I.
who knows? Yeah. Exactly. And who knows? You grow your listening palette
Yeah,
also. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Ashish Paul, this has become a full Q&A. I mean, I hope you're okay with it.
I'm
There's
okay.
so many questions.
Yeah. I
Uh,
know.
okay, so here, Ashish wants to ask, do you think music theory is overused, like using 18th century European music concepts to analyze Hindustani music doesn't make sense?
Well, it's nothing can be overused, and anything like music cannot be ever overused because you cannot exhaust it. But the second part of your question is, it can be a comparison. It could be interesting to look at European music or classical music and Hindustani music and how it works, similarities and differences. That could be an interesting part. But I don't know if the analysis is about comparing good or bad. It's just if you apply that idea and find out the interesting differences and the similarities, that could be an interesting concept. Yeah, it depends on what you want to analyze. Really.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. Uh, Varun, okay, this would be interesting. Varun wants to ask you if there are any current Indian or Kolkata bands that you like or listen to.
Uh, I like listen to Bruce's band. I like Thermal and a
Hmm.
Quarter a lot, and band. One of the young guitar players now I really like listening to is Shubhagato Rivu.
Revu, yes.
Yeah, he's marvelous. He's
Yeah.
really got, and is, I mean, I don't know if I ever told him that even if I didn't hear his music, his fingers, the way it's laid out on the guitar fretboard, it's enough to tell me that he's really playing well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing. If Revu, you're listening or whenever you hear this,
yeah,
you'll be happy to hear this.
yeah. No, he's really playing
Yeah,
really well.
definitely. I also think,
Yeah,
I mean, the way he also thinks about music shows
yeah,
on his
yeah.
playing.
And yeah, exactly. And he's pretty mature. I mean, the
Hmm.
way he holds himself on stage, is very mature.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
Cool. I think we are kind of getting close to
Cool.
our
Sure.
show.
Yeah.
One question I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
You know, you've been playing music for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Given the position you are in today, would you
Mm-hmm.
have done anything differently? Like, do you ever feel that you should have done this or that?
Um, I don't think so, Nishit. I don't
Hmm.
think so. I wished many things happened, but the way I kind of drove my life. I think I wouldn't have changed it, as at least in my thought thinking process.
Right.
Uh, I wouldn't really. Yeah, because
Great.
I'm quite that way. I'm able to kind of think in very clear way what I want to make myself into. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
You
that
do.
way,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah. But do you have any moments of confusion? Like, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? Not earlier. Obviously, I think now
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
earlier in your uh, uh, journey as a musician. Did you
Right.
have those kind of thoughts that am I doing the right thing even or
You mean whether I'm playing guitar is it the right thing, or stylistically you're talking about as a musician?
anything that
Anything.
that part of your like you sometimes like I would get confused. Am I doing the right thing or should I change the way I do things? Did you
Yeah.
ever have those kind of uh, thoughts earlier in your life?
I would put it slightly differently, Nishit. I mean,
Sure, sure.
I didn't have confusions, but I have
Mm,
lots of realizations. You know
right.
what I mean? The difference is I didn't want to change who I was,
Mm,
but in being that, I realized that it's a tough one to be in this place. You know what I mean? Because guitar playing, I'm terribly in love with it even now, so I
mm.
can't quit, and it's too late to quit anyway. I can't do anything else. You know,
Yeah.
and number two is it is when you realize that it's a tough uphill all the way. Uh, you realize those things, and then you think, oh, I should have done this and done that, but that I can only do as an artist in my artist parameters, in the parameters within the artistic realms. You know what I mean? I can't change the business or the. I can only put ideas into people's head that, "Hey, let's
Right.
do that. Why can't you do that?" And like all, I always also try and do that also,
Did you
but
ever
some.
think that I should have been in Bombay or New
Yes,
York?
I did. Yes, I
Mm.
did. I did.
Those.
Yes, I did. Um, yes, I did many
Yeah.
times. Yeah,
Yeah,
Bombay for
because
sure. Yeah,
right. But then you did choose to be in Calcutta. I mean, obviously.
yeah. I mean, there are many angles to it, but yeah, I
Mm,
mean, being Bombay, there's a plus side because that's whatever it is. It is the commercial hub or capital of the country. So
yeah.
when you are there stationed, you get in touch with people of many categories, and you only choose the category that you have to be in
Yeah.
with. And most of them are my friends anyway, so
Yeah.
that would have been quite easy for me anyway.
Yeah.
So, but now, yeah, I mean, then some people said, asked me, did you like now? It seems people when I play music, guitar, people kind of seem to be recognizing who's playing. So would you have got that sound? I said I don't know, but knowing
Mm,
myself as a character, maybe I would have still found a way to find
right.
myself, even though I could get commercially busy and
Mm,
making money. But I, I,
right.
I kind of I'm not scared to work hard and not sleep, and then
Mm.
you know I've always been like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
sure. Cool. So tell us about your upcoming album. I think
yeah,
I've heard.
I mean,
I want to know about it.
yeah, sure. I mean, I've just recorded the acoustic album, like acoustic. I'm playing acoustic guitar, of course, and
Mm.
the great Jivraj Singh is playing drums,
Mm.
and just playing acoustic drums. And Orange Joy is playing the other guitar, and Akash Ganguly, of course, plays bass, playing bass. So that is done. We are
Mm.
just waiting for the artwork a little bit. It's also done, but the final work is done. Hopefully by next month we should be able to do something with it.
Okay,
and
great.
music is completely acoustic. It's the album called Red Plant.
Oh.
So yeah, it's like it's actually called in Italian. It's called Rojo Planta. You know,
Hmm.
but in English is Red Plant. So yeah, I mean there are I think seven tunes, and it's going to be exciting. So I'm excited about that, and it's
Yeah.
got that same kind of quite wide kind of canvas, sonic
Hmm.
canvas to it. Yeah, let's see.
Right.
Let's hope out and we'll do something. Yeah,
No, I'm super excited about that actually.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
what
yeah.
does the name like? Does the name have any like? What does the album name mean actually? I mean, I've you
See,
described it, but what's the thought?
yeah, yeah. See, red plant, Rojo planta is, I think, is a poisonous plant,
Oh.
and it looks sweet. It's kind of like the music. It's sweet, but once you're in it, you're completely swallowed into it completely.
Right.
Yeah, but the other side is the real meaning that I thought would be uh, also. I mean, think whatever you want to think about it. That's why I named that album Red Plant, because
Hmm.
it's open to your interpretation. And
Hmm.
that red plant could be, see what we have made this planet into. The, eventually, this whole humanity is diseased humanity. This is
Yeah.
what we are right now. We can't even shake hands and talk to each other. This is what we've brought ourselves to. So by destroying nature and multiplying like mice,
Hmm.
this is what. So red plant is like, it's a symbolical thing. Red plant is angry with rage. It's red
Hmm.
with rage, and plant is nature. It's a symbol for nature.
Right.
So nature is
Wow.
angry with us. So that's how it's red plant.
Totally angry with us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I'm
yeah,
really excited to listen to the album whenever
yeah,
it comes out. I'm
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
yeah, we'll get to know.
Sure.
And so yeah, I think we are close to our session now. We try to keep it within an hour 15 minutes, so
Hmm.
that it's again, because people don't have very long attention spans.
I know. I know.
But an hour is decent. So
Great. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's been lovely talking to you after so
Absolutely.
long, and
I
at
know.
this level,
Uh
talking
huh.
about different things. And also what happens with when people ask questions, it kind of maneuvers on its own, so it kind of becomes more free flowing, which is interesting.
It is. It is.
So
Sure.
thank you so much for joining. uh, i
Absolutely. You're
hope
welcome.
uh,
Yeah.
I hope you had a good time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Always with you. Always. Of course.
Yeah,
You should.
thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, we hope we can get back to doing gigs and
Yeah.
can hear you and your band live again, proper,
I know. I know.
with music system, with people, whenever that happens.
I know.
Uh, Till then, we are trying to do this as a session to just keep in touch with each other. I think that's what the main objective is.
Yeah.
uh,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
it can bring in new ideas. We can connect with new people through this medium, and something
Hmm.
interesting might come up. If people have ideas, y'all are please free feel to share your ideas with us. If you want something in particular to happen, like you want a certain session that we should do, we'll be happy to
Right.
do that. Yeah, any last notes, Amita, that you want to
Well, when you spoke about this whole, let's hope this whole thing opens up and all. Yeah, sure. Just to add to that,
yeah.
I'm sure many people are listening to us, and they're all, generally also hoping that this thing opens up, especially musicians and young people who are interested in music, young and whatever age. But just feeling and saying something about is one thing, but also, like I said, coming and showing your feelings and taking part in the at the gig or at the event is the real, what is the real result of it should be. Not only just saying, and this could happen, that could happen, they should do this, they should do that. But when it happens, everyone should jump into that and show that, okay, it's been done. You know, show us
Absolutely.
this is how it's done, and then the wheel starts turning again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally agree
that's
with
what
you.
it is.
Totally
Yeah.
agree with you. I think that on that note, everyone, I
Hmm.
hope everyone's listening. Whenever we start the gigs, please let's do it. And not just, I mean, gigs or other conversations, collaborations, sharing things, understand. I mean, I think it's a collection of things that helps to, push the scene and the movement together. So, like
That's right.
Amrita said, um just don't be on your computer and say, I really like your work, but show up,
Yeah.
participate, engage. I think that's what is important. And yeah, we are hoping it will be great. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm hearing some nice words from people, from Bodhi, from Sauradeep, from Shantanu. Thank you
Hmm.
everyone for joining. Um, I'll see you guys next Sunday with another session. So this is the only session I've done with one person, Amita. Rest of all have been with minimum three people. And while I was doing this session, people were messaging, "Why don't you have Amita?" I said, "I don't want to do Amita with other people because I need time with him alone."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad it happened, and
Yeah.
I'm really, really
Great.
thankful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Nishit. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you
Great. It
so
was
much.
fun. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
fun.
See you
Bye.
soon.
See you soon. Absolutely. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.